Why Dallas Cowboys got humiliated by Washington Commanders. We're gonna be going through that and 5 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Dallas Cowboys content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel hitting that red button down below. The first story is Cowboys drop regular season finale 26-6, need to regroup with playoff game looming. The Cowboys just lost 26-6 in the season finale against the Commanders. It was as bad of a game they've played all season, and it doesn't lend itself to any form of confidence for fans with the playoffs just a week away. The special teams mishaps were apparent in the first quarter. Brian Anger botched a snap that led to a possession starting in the red zone for Washington, and that led to a touchdown. Vontae Turpin muffed a punt a bit later in the first quarter, which also led to a red zone possession for the Commanders. This seemingly weekly paragraph about turnovers by Dak Prescott is becoming predictable and stale. He's thrown an interception in 7 straight games, far and away the longest such streak of his career. His second longest interception streak was 4 games in the beginning of 2019. Whether you blame the receivers for some of them or a sort of miscommunication, that is the exact opposite for the recipe of success. Look back at last week when the Panthers were playing the Buccaneers. They were up 14-0 in that game, then turned the ball over twice, and we all know how that ended. You can't give good teams extra opportunities, and every team is good in the playoffs. We're to a point where it might not even be avoidable. Just have hope it doesn't happen when it matters. It was Prescott's worst game of football in recent memory, perhaps in his NFL career. It's scary for a guy that needs to be at his best for this team to break the mediocre ceiling they have been stuck in for a while. Is it good he got it out of his system in a game that, in hindsight, didn't matter? That's up for debate. The Cowboys' defense has a huge hole, and it'll be really problematic. Chris Godwin is going to have opportunities next week, as the cornerback opposite side of Trevon Diggs has been a problem all season. The Cowboys' rushing offense has been as bad as any teams in the NFL the past month. What once was a strong suit has yet to see a running back average over 4 yards a carry in any of the past 4 games. That won't take any pressure of Prescott, which will lead to more turnovers. It's scary times, and this game just proved a lot of things, all of which were negative. If this is how you come out when there's potential of the number 1 seed, there are major issues that probably can't be solved in just a few days. This has the uncanny resemblance to last year, when it just felt they were running on empty and got bullied by a team that was starting to take shape late. The Buccaneers truly aren't that good of a team, and if the Cowboys lose to them, it'll be one of the worst Cowboys losses this decade and surely of Dak Prescott's career. The Cowboys entered Sunday ranked number 21 league-wide in run defense, and the Commanders made it an emphasis to attack that weakness, even without their top 2 running backs in Brian Robinson Jr. and Antonio Gibson. The result was a stout 41 carries for 151 yards and a touchdown, with Jarrett Patterson leading the way in his first offensive action this season, collecting 78 yards on 17 carries. Howell wasn't far behind, taking 5 carries for 35 yards and a score while contributing on both designed and off-script plays. Jonathan Williams added 32 yards on 14 carries, all creating a strong ground game that aided Howell in his debut. Apart from the final score, Dallas was also blown out in rushing yards, as it mustered 64 yards on 27 carries, an average of 2.4 yards per carry. Star running backs Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard combined for just 29 yards on 15 carries, illustrating the total control of Washington's front 7. In addition to the strong run defense, the Commanders were stingy against the pass, holding Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott to just 14 completions on 37 attempts for a minuscule 128 yards, adding in 1 touchdown and an interception. Following Howell's in-zone interception, Dallas had some momentum, still trailing only 7-0, and Prescott escaped unscathed after a near interception to Commanders cornerback Kendall Fuller. But the same couldn't be said for the next play, as he threw a pick 6 to Fuller, and Washington never looked back after taking a 2-possession lead. With pressure at his feet for much of the night and most passing windows being highly contested, Prescott flat out looked uncomfortable, and the stat line reflects exactly that. But credit belongs to the Commanders' defense, which never let its foot off the gas and sent a clear statement for 60 minutes. The second story is Cowboys failed to accomplish one important thing before the playoffs. It was an ugly performance for the Dallas Cowboys to close out the regular season. A 26-6 loss to the Washington Commanders leaves a bitter taste ahead of the NFL postseason. Nothing went right in a game that should have allowed the team to build some momentum heading into the playoffs. From turnovers to self-inflicted mistakes, it seemed like everything went wrong from start to finish. Dak Prescott was all out of sorts throwing the ball. The run game never got going. Even the defense struggled to make rookie Sam Howell pay in his first career start, aside from a first-half interception. Needless to say, it was the kind of game that you want to throw away and forget about. The problem, it isn't that easy when the playoffs are set to kick off in a week. Dallas has to figure these problems out fast. To make matters worse, the Cowboys are set to play the very team that they were embarrassed by in Week 1. Aside from the season finale, the Cowboys were only really shut down offensively by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That can't make you feel too good about the upcoming playoff opener. It was one of only 2 times this season we have seen this offense look completely out of sorts with Dak Prescott behind center. And the Buccaneers have a bunch of talent on the front 7. V-to-V presence a major challenge for the Cowboys, as does the Buccaneers defense as a whole, as we saw in the season opener. Not to mention, some guy named Tom Brady plays quarterback for Tampa Bay and has had quite a bit of playoff success. Dallas needs center Tyler Biodas back in a big way. There is hope that he will be able to return after missing the regular season finale. The Cowboys also desperately need Dak Prescott and the offense to be in sync. Of course, that was not the case on Sunday. The Dallas Cowboys needed to build some momentum heading into the playoffs. Instead, they laid an egg, raising the alarms for concern. The third story is CB Xavier Rhodes added to depleted secondary. The Dallas Cowboys have had concerns at cornerback since losing Jordan Lewis and Anthony Brown to season-ending injuries. Rookie Daron Bland has filled in nicely for Lewis in the nickel with a team-leading 5 interceptions. But the Cowboys are still wanting for a true successor to Brown at the left cornerback spot opposite Pro Bowler Trevon Diggs. After Kelvin Joseph failed, the Cowboys have used Nahshon Wright at the position, but his inexperience has them wary going into the playoffs. So the team signed former Pro Bowler Xavier Rhodes to the practice squad to give them a veteran option for the postseason. Rhodes, a 32-year-old, 10-year veteran who played in just 2 games this season for Buffalo Bills this season. Buffalo released him earlier this week. He spent 7 years with the Vikings after being picked in the first round in 2013, making 3 Pro Bowls and being tabbed All-Pro in 2017. He spent the last 2 seasons with the Indianapolis Colts. In 135 career games, Rhodes has 13 interceptions, 92 pass breakups, 3 forced fumbles, and 457 tackles. Wright has shown some competitiveness, but he has 2 career starts with 1 interceptions and 4 pass deflections. The fourth story is Dak Prescott's interceptions could prove fatal for the Cowboys' Super Bowl aspirations. The Dallas Cowboys want to end their regular season on a high note when they face the Washington Commanders this Sunday in their Week 18 game at FedEx Field. The Cowboys have a lot to play for still, thanks to the Philadelphia Eagles' 2 consecutive losses, one of them against Dallas, which gave Jerry Jones' team the possibility to still end the season as division champs in the NFC East, securing a home playoff game and with the chance of even ending up with the number 1 seed in the NFC, which would grant them a first-round bye week as well. For the first time since the 1994 to 1995 seasons, which was the last time the Dallas Cowboys won the Super Bowl, the team has finished the season with over 12 wins. And many believe that's a good omen of what could come in the following weeks for them. But many also believe that if they want to go on a run for the Vince Lombardi Trophy, their quarterback, Dak Prescott, needs to take better care of the football, especially when it comes to throwing interceptions in critical games such as the playoffs, in which an unforced error could prove to be fatal. Dak Prescott is leading the league in interceptions, tied at 14 with Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins, with an interception rate of 3.9%. But that's atypical for him, because in his first 5 seasons he only had a 1.7% interception rate, meaning he threw only 50 picks out of his 2,889 passing attempts. After last TNF game against the Tennessee Titans, in which Dak threw 2 interceptions, head coach Mike McCarthy acknowledged that Prescott's turnovers are something they need to take care of, and promised everybody they're coaching it. We're emphasizing it. He's wired the right way. Our players are wired the right way. So, unfortunately, you go through ups and downs in this league. That's the beauty of how competitive this league is. This was a game we needed to get and we got it done. So whether we don't get any style points, that's okay. But we're still at 12 wins. The fifth story is an update on Damar Hamlin, and he says the love has been overwhelming. Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin says the love shown to him after his cardiac arrest in an NFL game has been overwhelming as players and coaches continued to show support for the hospitalized player. Sunday's game between the Kansas City Chiefs and Las Vegas Raiders had just kicked off when Hamlin posted his first social media comment since his frightening collapse in Tuesday's game against Cincinnati. "When you put real love out into the world, it comes back to you 3x's as much," the 24-year-old wrote on his Instagram account. "The love has been overwhelming, but I'm thankful for every single person that prayed for me and reached out. We brung the world back together behind this. If you know me, you know this only gonna make me stronger. On a long road, keep praying for me," he added. NFL players, coaches, and fans again showed their support for Hamlin before Sunday's Chiefs-Raiders game. The first action in the league since Tuesday's game was abandoned in the wake of Hamlin's medical emergency. Players and coaching staff at Las Vegas Allegiant Stadium wore t-shirts with love for Damar, while Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes wore a hoodie with the slogan "Hamlin Strong" on the back and an image of the player. Hamlin collapsed after taking a hard hit to the chest while tackling Bengals receiver T. Higgins during the first quarter of the nationally televised game in Cincinnati on Monday. He was resuscitated on the field and hospitalized in critical condition at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. The sobering scene sparked vigils on his behalf in both Buffalo and Cincinnati. Fans across the country donated millions of dollars to Hamlin's charity GoFundMe. By Thursday, doctors were calling Hamlin's progress remarkable. After having a breathing tube removed, he was able to hold a video call with teammates on Friday. The Bills released an update on Hamlin on Sunday. For the physicians at UC Medical Center, Damar is making continued progress in his recovery yet remains in critical condition. He continues to breathe on his own and his neurological function is excellent, the team said. While the NFL engineered tributes to Hamlin, few fans in Las Vegas seemed to do so. There were a handful of fans wearing Bills jerseys at the stadium, though there were just as many in gear representing the Cowboys, the Seahawks, and other teams. Frank Nostro, 54, who wore a Josh Allen number 17 Bills jersey, said he was watching as Hamlin got hit Monday night. "I thought it was just a regular hit. You see a lot of guys go down with a concussion or something like that," he said.